Good morning, everyone. It's Tutorial Tuesday, and this week I want to show you guys how you can cut thinner woods with your Cricut Explore machine. I have seen so many people talking about it lately, so I did some trial and error, and I found what worked best for me, so I'm going to share that with you guys today. Now, I will be cutting 1/16 balsa wood. Now, it is not on the list of Cricut recommended products, so keep that in mind when you're cutting this because it is not recommended by Cricut. I am not going to do any other materials today as I'm still looking around for different ones to try, but there is a setting for thinner chipboard with a sizing with the recommended millimeter on there. So today I'm just going to show you the 1/16 balsa wood. So I'm just going to show you, since we've got Valentine's Day coming up, I figured I'd show you how to cut a shape. We're just going to do a heart, and then I'm going to show you how to cut a letter, just to see that you can't cut super fine details, but it actually does pretty well. I was pretty surprised. So if you've never watched my videos before, you can follow along with my mouse here. So I'm going over to the shapes, and I'm just going to pick a heart. I'm going to go up here to my sizing area, and I'm just going to take my larger number, which happens to be my width, and change it to 1. I'm only going to make it an inch big. I do want to just show you guys how intricate we can get, and it still does pretty well. And I'm going to pick text. I'm going to do a lowercase e so that you guys can see how it does cutting that smaller out little bit out of the middle. And I'm going to leave it on Cricut Sans. And I'm going to change the higher number here, which happens to be the height, to 1. And then I'm going to go over in the layers panel over here to the color sync option. And I'm just going to make it easy on myself and sync these colors right up so they cut on the same mat. And then I'm going to select Make It. Now I'm going to mirror my image. For the heart, it doesn't really matter, but for the E, it will. And I'm doing this because sometimes you're not going to get the cleanest of edges, and it's going to be more on the back. So by mirroring the image, we can work with that a little better. Now you can see this red line here, which already gives us a 1/4 inch border all around. But because the balsa wood is pretty light, I am going to move it down just a little bit more and keep a little bit of space in between my two pieces. I'm going to click continue. Now, because there is no setting for this, we are going to make one. So I'll show you quickly how to do it on the computer, and then I'm going to pull it up on the app for those of you who use the app so you can see how you can add a setting there. It's really easy. Now, what I did in order to determine this material, which may help you making custom materials in the future, is I went through all of the materials that there are, and I found all of their pressure settings, how many times they cut, and I just did trial and error with them to see what pressure setting and how many cuts would be necessary to do this. And I'm using the deep cut blade. All right, it's taking a second for my computer to pull it up, so I'm going to pull up my app for us. I already have it set up to make it easier, so I'm going to press continue, and it's hopefully going to pick up my machine. I just paired it this morning, so I might need to just play around with it. So I already have my Balsa 1/16 here. I set it up for you guys this morning, but I'm going to show you quickly how you can do it. So you're going to go over here to all materials. You can go down here to material settings, and then we're going to go up to this plus sign here, and then you're going to name it whatever you want. I named it Balsa 1/16. I'll just do it a little different this time so that hopefully we don't have any conflicts. And we'll add it. Okay. And then I'm going to, it's going to ask us which blade we want, and I want the deep point blade. Now it already has a a set material or pressure for us and multi-cut, so we're going to just play around with those numbers. Now for the 1/16 balsa wood, I found that a cut pressure of between 225 and 235 was good, so I'm going to set it to 230. Now you can use the plus key or you can slide it, get as close as you can, and then play around with it. I'm going to select this to make this preferred blade for this material, so that it automatically defaults to that. And then I'm going to do a 5-time cut. Now you might find when you're cutting less intricate things, it doesn't need as many cuts. You can just come right back into these settings here and change it around. So we're going to save it. And it's here, and we'll go back to it, and we'll go back again. And now when you go to search your materials, you can pull up balsa wood 1/16. You can favorite it so that it's in your favorites here. It's up to you. So we'll close out of this, and we'll go back to my computer. I'm repairing my Bluetooth over there. I haven't used this machine in a little while, so it's having a bit of an issue, and I think it's conflicting with the fact that it's hooked up to my iPad. So I'm going to turn it off quickly and then turn it back on. Now I have it set to custom on my dial for the Air 2. That way it can, we can change our settings in there. So hopefully this will come up in a second. And if you have trouble with your Bluetooth and you need to reconnect, your pin is 0000, which will make it much easier for you. Hopefully this will. All right, let me get this going and I'll be back. Okay, now that I've got all of my stuff all set here, I have it on custom. My dial is on custom, so I'm going to go over here to browse all materials, and I'm just going to do the same thing we did on the app. We're going to go down to material settings, and we are going to go down to the bottom and add new material, and then we'll name it because I did it on my iPad. It's favorited here too. So we'll just go through the same process really quickly to show you guys. So we'll save it, and it's going to pop up with the same little thing it showed us before. We've got balsa wood 1/16. This here is the multi-cut, which we want, it will say off. We'll change it to 5 times. We're going to default to the deep point blade, and I'm going to bump it up to 230, and we'll save it. And then you're all set. So then when we go back to browse all materials, we'll type in balsa wood 1/16, done. Okay, so it will tell us what we need. Now, I'm going to show you a few things about how we should set it up. You're going to need a new purple strong grip mat. You want it to be really, really sticky. So I have it here. I've already cut stuff out of here with my maker and the knife blade, so it has been used. I put it on really well, and I use my brayer to really get it down. Now, just to make sure we get some extra adhesion, I've taped it down with some painter's tape. If you have a maker or you know anything about the maker, you need to tape it down too. So I do that just to make sure. You also need to make sure that your white star wheels are pushed all the way to the side. Those will leave the marks on your material, and because this is so soft, it's super evident that that's how it goes. So we're going to nudge our mat in, load it up, and we're going to cut. Now it's going to go around 5 times for each piece, but we have our stuff taped down well. So, and like I said, if you go through this and you notice that it doesn't need as many cuts, you can go back in your settings and change it around. It's up to you. Play around with it, see how it works. If you have a material that's a little thicker, which I don't necessarily recommend because you can see that it's already pretty close to that bar, but if you have something that's a little harder, like a basswood, you're going to need a bit of a an adjustment in your settings. So keep that in mind when doing different materials. Now I want to show you how this cut with the intricate details. Okay. I'm going to pull the tape off. I'm going to pull this off very carefully. If you have never worked with balsa wood, it is very, very thin and it's very brittle. It will break easily if you're not careful. So I'm going to carefully remove it. This purple strong grip mat is strong, and I use the brayer to really adhere it. So I mean, it's stuck on there pretty well. So you pull it up very carefully. All right, now you can look on the back. It didn't quite cut all the way through. So we might want to go back and adjust our pressure settings, maybe bump it up to 235. So what we're going to do here is just pop it out. It's mostly cut through. You can use your true control knife blade to help it out. You can see. So we might want to bump up the pressure a little bit more. You can see here on this E on the inside, it kind of crumbled it in a few places. It is not meant for more intricate details. So yeah, that one's in there pretty well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump up the pressure a little bit and we'll cut again and we'll see how that works compared to this. Okay, so I went back and I bumped the pressure up to 235, and I went and I edited my mat so I can use the same piece of wood, and I'm just going to cut it again for you guys so you can see how it's going to work. That seems to be a little bit better. Maybe bumping up the pressure was good, but maybe I don't need as many passes. So again, you'll just have to play around with it and see what works best for you. If you see anything in the way, move it carefully when you get a chance so it doesn't get stuck under your rollers or anything. All right, I'm going to take this out. We know that the heart cut pretty well, so I'm more worried about the E. So I'm just going to do this and see how bumping up the pressure a little bit affected how it cut. So again, we're going to move it. Oh yeah, that's much better. We're going to move it carefully off the mat. And again, so that middle piece already popped out, and you can see if you check the back, you can see it didn't cut all the way through right here, but if you're very careful, again, grab an X-Acto, your true control knife blade, and kind of help it out. So bumping it up to 235 made a big difference. Now you can take your true control knife here, and you can just kind of go in and clean up those finer edges. You can also use an emery board, a nail file, and smooth out those edges. But for the most part, it cuts pretty well.